welcome to the Album Man, and this is sure to be a controversial review, and this is a review of Red's Release the Panic. Now, for those of you who don't know, Red were an alternative Christian rock band who comprised of Michael Barnes on vocals, Anthony Armstrong on guitar, Randy Armstrong on bass, and Joe Ricardo on drums. Now, I've personally listened to their 2009 album Innocence and Instinct, which I thought was a really strong album, and I do enjoy it from time to time when I listen to it. And the hooks on that album, they're just so catchy. It's just good, solid, alternate rock, to be honest, but it's heavy alternate rock. Still alternate rock, but definitely has a heavier element to it. Now, I've seen reviews of this album go from, sort of 8s praising it to a 1. I saw on one website they give it a 1. Yeah, I'm sadly not going to be tearing it apart like that. I fall somewhere more in the middle. It's certainly not Bullet for My Valentine, Temper Bad. God, no, not much is going to be able to exceed that this year, I hope. God, I hope. Unless Metallica and Lou Reed do another collaboration. But no, it certainly isn't like that. But yeah, you'll see as we go through. So the album opens with the title track Release the Panic. And on this song, the drums, they get progressively louder and louder until the heavy guitar riff comes in. And to be honest, I was not expecting something so heavy to open a Red album. And I can't say it's the strongest start to the album, however. I think Michael has a great voice, don't get me wrong there, he really can sing. But when growling in the chorus, I think it's wasted, quite honestly. I don't think he can pull off those type of growls really that well, and he doesn't utilise his voice. Also, I find this song to be nothing that special, really. The chorus has okay moments, I suppose, but most of it I just find to be rather standard, heavy rock that you'd hear on the radio. It's clearly made for radio airplay. And it feels like they were just trying to be a bit heavy for the sake of it, really. It feels like that type of forced angst, which I really don't like. I like genuine angst, that can sound fantastic, but forced, no. Then Perfect Life, and this is one of the singles from the album, I think, and the verse, it has a lot of potential and builds nicely with a solid beat and some nice lead guitar, but when it gets to the chorus, I find it to be a bit anticlimactic. I will admit that the chorus and track overall has grown on me a little, but still, I don't think it has any of that uniqueness that made Red a good band. Now, this could be a result of the producer Howard Benson, who seems to have made the sound even more commercial and mainstream rock sounding, and has taken away some of that uniqueness that Red had in the what can be a rather bland genre, quite frankly. The modern alternative rock, I can find quite a bland wasteland, and I thought Red were one of the ones that stood up a bit, but I'm not sure after this album, but still we'll persevere. Now, Die For You, this starts with some industrious sounding electronics, and this really is a recurrent theme across the album, as many reviewers have touched on. And I have mixed feelings about industrial electronics. I think sometimes they can be awful, like Depeche Mode. I don't like that band, I'm not reviewing their new album, I just know. Or I think they can be used to wonderful effect, like Marilyn Manson, the Hollywood album, or Mechanical Animals, for example. And I think Red's use falls closer towards the not as good end, but in general they're really just at the beginning of the songs, and they don't detract from the song, but yet again they don't add to it. They just feel unnecessary. It would have just been the same really if they'd just taken it away. They may as well have just taken it away, to be frank. Yes, anyway, this song is the opposite of the previous song, in my opinion. The chorus is pretty catchy, actually, and has that anthem style to it, but the verse is pretty underwhelming. Yes, there's a decent guitar solo in there, and the song is, I suppose it's alright, however cliched the chorus of Die For You may be. I've heard many bands sing a chorus of extremely similar, if not the same lyrics to that, and yeah, came across a bit cliche to me. But still, it's better than the next song, which is Damage. And this starts again some more industrious sounds, but these crop up a bit more throughout the song, and I can't say I like them in this song. I don't think they suit it. Again, this is one of the heavier songs on the album, but I found the lyrics to be pretty bad, and usually I think Red, they know how to write decent emotive lyrics, but this, no. And I think the growling vocals, they also detract from the song. It's not massively offensive, but I just don't think he pulls them off particularly well, I'm afraid. And I think this song really, it does, and the growling vocals do damage to the album. That was awful. Anyway, Same Disease is next, and again it started those now boring industrial sounds. Like they were interesting at the beginning, but still. And I have to say I found this song to be the worst song on the album. It sounds in the context of the album to be, and I don't want to use this word really, but in the context of the album it's fairly generic. Nothing stands out about it, and it's easily forgettable. Honestly, I genuinely cannot remember the tune of this song. It's that forgettable. It could be any of the heavier songs on this album. It has nothing particularly unique about it, I'm afraid. But before you Red fans start typing out your flaming comments, let me talk about Hold Me Now. Because to me, this shows off where Red excel, and why I listen to them. This is a mainly piano-driven song with Michael's voice reaching its full potential and soaring into the chorus. The lyrics are great and achieve what you'd expect from Red's song, which is those emotive lyrics with that religious message to them. But I can't say I like the religious messages much, being a hater of religion. But, you know, I can look past that for the music, obviously. And it has a really catchy chorus, and overall this power ballad is easily the best song on the album. It's a fantastic song. I definitely recommend anyone who likes power ballads to check it out, really. But then they have to go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like "If We Only." And this starts with him screaming "Let It Die," which is just so unnecessary. It reminds me of "A Certain Tears Don't Fall." But anyway, yes, it's a shame how bad the verse gets. It sounds almost new metal-y to me, almost Linkin Parky. I definitely get some Linkin Parky vibes with this band. I don't seem to be the only person. I definitely don't. I can't say I like Linkin Park at all. I definitely prefer Red a lot more. Anyway, you do get a wonderfully catchy chorus, which is a real high point of the album and has these symphonic sounds carrying it. So it's just a shame that the verse has to be such utter tripe, to be honest. And it leaves me in two minds. The chorus, wonderful. The verse offends me along with the bear-like vocals it instills. Overall, I'd have to say that I don't really dig the song. But again, before you start typing those comments, hear me out about the next two songs. Or the next three even. So Far Away, and this is a very strong song on the album. It has a fantastically catchy chorus that's just so infectiously, again I'll use the word catchy, you just want to sing along with it, and it's another of the best songs on the album with some really great emotive lyrics. And then we get to Glass House, and this is the second best song on the album. It makes you wonder what the flip happened to the first half of the album, because this is another cracking, albeit radio-friendly mainstream rock song, but I mean, it's not exactly the most unique song ever created, you know, let's not give Red marks for originality. But still, it's the peak of this type of mainstream rock sound, and as derivative as it is, I just can't help but enjoy listening to it, really, and just want to sing along. It creates that feeling you want with a good alternative mainstream rock song, which is just to sing along and have a verse that doesn't offend you. Why they put this towards the end of the album, I don't know, because if they put it towards the beginning, you know, it might have made it a bit more bearable. And then, to finish off the album, we get The Moment We Come Alive, and really, it is one of the moments they do in fact come alive. Now this is a bit like the previous two songs, in fact it's fairly similar to them musically, but still it's a strong song with a great hook. I mean, it's a little repetitive in context of the album, it sounds a bit similar to the others, but it's still a strong song, and compared to something like Same Disease, it's definitely good. Now in conclusion, I would say this album's definitely grown on me from my first listen, where I posted on Facebook that it was awful. And really, I would say this album, it's a very mixed bag, with some of the songs being some of the best radio-friendly songs of recent memory even, but others being dull, cliched, and even offensive. Well, not offensive as in, like, offending, more offensive as in makes my ears want to bleed. Well, no, okay, that's massive exaggeration on my part. That's a massive exaggeration. Offensive, I'll take it now, as in some of the growling vocals, just not that good. If you are a big fan of this band, you should pick up this album. You'll definitely enjoy this release, but for more of a casual fan or a newcomer, you'll find bits you like, probably, and then bits you don't. Yes, I'll give Red commendations for experimenting with industrial sounds, however I don't think they add anything to this album. And if you want to get a taste of this album, then listen to the tracks Hold Me Now and Glass House. I definitely recommend those two if you're a newcomer to this band. If you don't like them and find them a bit sort of mainstream for you, then that's perfectly understandable, but I think they're good. But really, in general, there's nothing that new here. I find this is a step backwards. I can't say I've had Until We Have Faces. I think that's the 2011 one. But it seems a bit of a step backwards to me. Oh, and before I give my rating, avoid the bloody deluxe edition. The first two tracks on that, Love Will Leave a Mark and As You Go, are very poor tracks. Especially the latter, which is one of the worst songs on the album, if you included it. And then you get these atrocities, which are the dubstep remixes of 3 older Red songs, and they are abhorrent. I'd avoid them at all costs. They just... I only listened to half of one of them because it was so unbearably bad for someone who loathes dubstep as much. I mean, if you like dubstep and like Red, yeah, you probably get a bit of a kick from them, but they're really not good. Anyway, in conclusion, I would say, it's 10 tracks, 5 I like, 5 I, in general, don't, but really there's aspects some of them, so I'm going to give this album a 5.5 out of 10. It has its moments of brilliance, and that's what tips it just over that perfectly average mark. But it's not an album I'll be listening to often, if at all, really. So yes, I'm going to be giving this a 5.5 out of 10. This has been the Album Man. Try not to hate. And thanks for watching. Can't wait to subscribe. And long live rock and roll.